Welcome to Around the Verse, Season 3, Episode 4. I am Brian Chambers, Development Director of Foundry 42 Frankfurt.
And I'm Dan Truffing. I'm the lead system designer of the Frankfurt office.
As many of you know, last week was GamesCom. It was a very busy week. It's always one of our biggest events of the year.
Yeah, outside of CitizenCon, of course.
Yes, that is also very busy. Members of the dev team from all around the world worked tirelessly to pull together to give you the sneak peek of what we showed on the show floor and also at the event.
Yeah, we got to meet a lot of the old guys, the old backers, and also a lot of new guys that we've never seen before. It's always nice to meet these guys.
There was a lot of new people on the show floor that were
playing. And a lot of them were like in full cosplay with all the gear, all the weapons, and, well, not the actual weapons because the security would take them away, but all the protection, all the helmets, all the gear. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I agreed. I met a lot of new people for the first time. Ran into some old fans, old backers. It was really cool. Highlight of the week had to be the live event at the Glory Theater. That's where Chris Roberts was able to show off SC Alpha 2.5 and 2.6. It's going to include the release of Star Marine, which I know is anticipated. Biggest of all was the gameplay we showed for 3.0. If you didn't get a chance to see it, we've cut together some bits, so take a look. Awesome. As you can see, one of the newest elements that was introduced in that demo was seeing a quest giver for the very first time.
Yeah, definitely. While we've been working on integrating NPCs in the baby PU, a mission giver is a completely different level of complexity in this game. Let's have a look at how that came along.
So with Star Citizen, we want to create a living and breathing universe. And a big part, maybe even the biggest part, is to populate our universe with compelling characters that feel real. And you saw your first glimpse of that with Miles Eckhart, like the shady, ambiguous backroom dealer guy that we showed in the Levski demo for Gamescom. And we want to show you a little bit of how he came to be, from casting and then actually shooting on the Imaginarium stage, and then going into the technical side with Mike Nagasaka and Jason Cole showing you how he actually came to be as an AI in the demo. Have fun.
Hey, how are you? Miles Eckhart. A friend over at Crusader said you've been building quite a rep.
Chris runs through everything and edits all the scenes how he wants them to look or how the acting to work. Once that's done, that could come from, say, 3 or 4 different takes. But with an editor, he'll use the editor's time code basically to create that scene and what he wants. And then from there, that data, that quad cam data and that time code gets sent out and then gets solved.
I'm always on the lookout for capable people who don't rattle. If you're interested in picking up some extra work, we should talk. I'll send my details.
And then once that data's solved, it comes back to us, but it comes back in pieces per takes. And what we do is we take that data and merge it together to make that one scene work together.
While that's getting processed, I pre-visualize the sequence by using pre-existing animation in the editor to get the overall feel. And once I get the motion capture data back, the facial and body, I put everything together and see how everything looks.
Hey, how are you? Miles Eckhart. A friend over at Crusader said you've been building quite a rep. I run run a modest security outfit, and I'm always on the lookout for capable people who don't rattle.
So the first initial implementation is probably the most important part, because this is the first time everything becomes together and we can assess any kind of issues that happens and resolve any kind of motion capture, facial data, environmental, or basically anything that needs to be adjusted. So after everything's been polished, I do a lighting pass. Fortunately, we have a good lighters, environment lighter, so I didn't have to do too much lighting, but I still added some few lights from the Mobi glass, as well as a little bit of a shadow fill light on the side to give a more of a moody feeling to Eckhart. So after that's been rendered and edited, I export the animation into the editor, which I handed over to the level designer or the UI artist to get it triggered at the right place at the right time.
Hey, how are you? Miles Eckhart. Friend over at Crusader said you've been building quite a rep. I run a modest security outfit, and I'm always on the lookout for capable people who don't rattle. If you're interested in picking up some extra work, we should talk. I'll send my details.
So in the GamesCom demo, both Miles Eckhart and the guy that gives you landing permissions on Levski, they were both pre-rendered as Flash videos, and then those were triggered inside the engine. That's a process that works, but it's kind of old school, and we want to actually change that in the future to a process where we actually render picture-in-picture live in the engine. That's scaling way better with an online universe that has hundreds of these characters.
During the Gamescom live demo, Chris Roberts mentioned the engineering difficulties like bringing a ship from space to hangar, transitioning from zone to zone, or having NPCs navigating environments that can move relative to each other. Regarding that last point, we want to show you how we improve the existing multi-layer navigation mesh system to match our requirements for bringing the Star Citizen universe alive.
In Gamescom, we can see several examples of the navigation mesh. So this is an example of an actual setup where we can see there are two main areas, like a landing pad with some navigation area and a constellation. So what we actually created is just a setup in which this character is just moving across three spots on the area. And there is another character inside here that will do something very similar. It will move inside three different block points or locations in this area, one here, one on this remote computer, and one here. And we'll play some animation. So now that we will jump in-game. So this is a simple setup I created before with the help of some of the designers, in which a spaceship, in our case the constellation we set up before, is spinning on top of a landing pad. Now we are inside, we can see an NPC moving across the two different locations. So this is the first one. It plays just an animation. He arrives to the spot, he plays an animation, and he goes to the computer board and he starts to just interact with it. We can look around, and what we can see is the landing pad, like just in front of us. And we can see another character that actually moves across three different locations, and he's trying to look at us later on, and he will wave. What you can see is like I can enable the navigation mesh, the backdraw, and there are two different local grids here and two different zones. One is our spaceship, in which during the loading time, the object container will inform the AI to which local navigation mesh we are in, which local grid we need to connect to, and which zone we need to connect to. So we can basically allow, here you can see like navigation system idle. That means nothing is actually moving for the eye. So this is really optimized because we can know in advance, based on the physics environment in which we are in, that nothing is actually moving because the zone system takes care of that, and the eye can just perform their own action, that is pathfinding, and move the characters. As you can see, like I can exit the game and I can show you a bit how the setup is. So if I go around, now the navigation mesh will try to recheck the consistency of the different environments to verify that nothing has happened and nothing has changed. And here is like our constellation, and on the bottom we have the landing pad with its own navigation mesh. And if we just look at the backdraw, we can see here a volume. that is the volume setup in this specific map, but we cannot see any volume on the constellation because this belongs to its own object container and cannot be edited by any level designer that just used the spaceship. But to edit that one, you need exactly to modify the template of the spaceship. So each navigation mesh more or less highlights a specific environment in which the characters can be.
Thanks, guys. Thanks to Intel, we also had a booth at Hall 9 on the show floor where people had the opportunity to come up and play the game, either for the first, second, third, fourth time.
Yeah, and we were also joined by the Star Citizen Twitch community who were live streaming a sneak peek of the upcoming 2.5 release. Let's have a quick look at how that went on the show floor.
So, experience hanging out in the on the show floor, it was awesome. The amount of backers that I met for the first time, that I've talked to socially, the amount of new people that came into play. People were excited. At one point, I think the queue was up to a 3-hour wait.
And our queue was going outside our booth, around the corner, and starting to block access to our neighbors. So a wonderful challenge to have because it just shows the interest in the game.
The energy was there, people were digging it, we were having fun.
I was part of the floor crew. We manned the booth and make sure everyone has everything they need to enjoy the game. They wanted to meet the developers, so yeah, me and Todd Pappy were all there on site to answer any questions that the backers had for us.
This was my first time at GamesCom, and just the sheer amount of people that are there compared to E3 is astounding. And
we're handing out merchandise left, right, and center. We're explaining our game to every passerby, and backers in the community that would come by, not even wanting to play the game, just wanting to see our presence and feel part of what was going on.
Good to show people the work that we've been pulling off.
All throughout this, we've got Disco Lando, we've got Captain Richard, DJ Knight, Twerk 17, Bad News Baron, all streaming live and having fun on the set. It meant that the whole atmosphere was live and festive, and a lot of people having fun and enjoying themselves.
A lot of people have not seen Star Citizen yet here at Gamescom, so or even live. So yeah, we've been trying to showcase what Star Citizen has to offer.
Amazing to see the amount of backers or the amount of new people coming to see Star Citizen, as there have been, and then just to see the amount of supporters that are already here, that are anxious to see us, just feels awesome. It's a fantastic community, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
I've been a backer since April 2013, and I've been streaming for a little over 2 years. So I've met so many people that I've been talking with for years now, so it's been really cool.
It's a lot of people have come out and said, hey, I wanted to stop by the Star Citizen booth, say hello, I'm a big fan of your stream.
The people who work at CIG have been the most passionate people I've ever come across. They really believe in what they're doing, and that's the most inspiring thing for me as a backer.
and then all of the volunteers that worked at the booth, all of those guys were backers. Worked those long hours, and how much time and effort they spent actually supporting the team as well as the game was fantastic.
Great guys, always fully ready to talk about the game. Great team, and we couldn't have done it without them.
They're the ones that are really, truly allowing us to be able to create this game, to create this world, this universe. And during the floor, I was more watching their reactions. And so as something was shown that was kind of blowing them away, I'd look over and they were looking at me and kind of nodding their head and giving me a thumbs up. You know, it was a kind of a direct recognition, a one-on-one of like, wow, what we saw is pretty cool. Fans weren't the only ones that got in the action at the show. We also had a press booth where we invited press to get a sneak peek at some of the stuff we've been working on. Here's an inside look of kind of behind the scenes of our behind the scenes press booth.
We come to GamesCom because it's the largest game conference in the whole world, and so that's probably number one. Number two, we have a lot of fans here who can attend the conference, and number three, we get to talk directly to the press.
Hello, hey!
Chris. Hi,
It's good to see you, Gamer. How you doing?
Subs from Red Bull. And we spend a lot of time with them, usually whatever we are going to show to our backers, we also show to the press behind closed doors. The way that works and what that's for is to give the press sort of that up-close kind of personal, one-on-one sort of attention with Chris Roberts. And so Chris sits down, we set up appointments, we'll go through the demo, the press gets a chance to ask him questions, whatever they want.
Can you explain how your procedural planet tech works and what it is?
They like it when they can get that face-to-face contact, especially with someone like Chris.
We're going to show like a preview of what we're going to show at our event, which is sort of the first integration of the big procedural planets that we're putting in Star Citizen.
That the procedural planet technology is one of the main things, one of the main messages that we're trying to get out, but also getting a chance to show them this slice of being able to do all the different things, getting out of your ship, running around a planet, space station, getting back in, flying off to another planet nearby.
So we'll just hit quantum drive so we can get to our location. You know, you've got the EVA stuff you can go around, and you also have stuff that you can do down on the ground, the FPS stuff, and you can go between all of them seamlessly. So it's sort of just like a first-person universe. You can go and do what you want versus stuck to doing one thing.
Just being able to do all that you know, in real time is going to be a real special moment for everyone to see.
So Levski is this, I guess, kind of free township on this moon that was a deserted mining area. And so a whole bunch of people from the UE that wanted to get away with the boot of the UE sort of set up there, so it's sort of like free from the UE oppression. So there's, you know, outlaws, scum, villainy, and other people that want to be around there, but we're going to go see it. So this is Port Olisar, which is the place that you sort of start on in the current live Star Citizen, which is one of the space stations. But in 3.0, you'll be able to spawn at these multiple starting locations in the star system.
What we are showing in the B2B room, in the press room, is what we'll be showing to the backers tonight. And so they're seeing the same thing. We have good relationships with the press. We trust them, they trust us, and we all try to, you know, hold hands and all go in it together. So it usually works out just fine.
There have been a number of articles being published in the last few days about the event, and the reaction of the press has been really great.
It really honestly has. We put together some links in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself.
And the ATV would not be complete without hearing from the community manager, Tyler Witkin, with this week's community updates and MVP.
Hey everyone, Tyler Witkin, Community Manager in the Austin, Texas studio, here to bring you this week's community update. The Anvil Terrapin sale continues, which includes another ship brochure that is definitely worth checking out. Alongside the sale is the usual Q&A sessions. You saw part 1 on our website released yesterday, and part 2 will be posted tomorrow. There's a lot of good information in these about the Terrapin. This month's Jump Point is now available to our subscribers. This time we take a look at the making of Grimhex Station and the ongoing character head development. Subscribers also received 2 Vault updates this week that showcased a selection of procedurally generated planet shots and an early look at the Anvil Terrapin. GamesCom is now behind us. We had an absolute blast. We encourage you to share the GamesCom demo with your friends and family and let them see just how cool Star Citizen really is. Remember, word of mouth from you, our amazing backers, is what makes this project possible. We want to thank Twerk17, DJ Knight, Bad News Baron, and Captain Richard for entertaining us all live from the show floor booth at Gamescom. In addition, thank you to all of the volunteers who helped us run this event and make sure that things went as smooth as possible. We could not have done it without you. Lastly, it's time for our MVP award. A huge congratulations to Algored, Brett W, and Gentle Jez for holding this year's Crux Cup. For those of you who are not familiar, this is an annual in-game racing tournament organized and hosted by the community, loaded with epic prizes. So, congratulations again, you all are this week's MVPs. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tyler. Maybe next time you and I can join the race. What do you think?
You'll have to step up your game.
I'll see what I can do.
Anyways, that's it for this week. Now the Gamescom's ended. The team is back in the trenches to get SC Alpha 2.5 out the door. Also working towards 3.0. also working on Squadron 42. We'd like to thank all of our subscribers that allow us to bring this extra content to you on a regular basis. Please go to robertspaceindustries.com. You can get info on future news, future events that we have. You can also purchase merchandise there. I've heard, I don't know exactly when yet, but I've heard soon we will have the Squadron 42 hoodies up there,
sure.
and those are pretty cool.
We also like to give a shout out to our Star Citizen community who will be attending Insomnia at the NEC in Birmingham this Saturday. Some of our team from the UK office will be meeting Board Gamer at 4 p.m. in the bar. The first 58 attendees will also get a special surprise.
I wonder what it is.
Well, it's a surprise. That's what surprises are for.
Yeah, exactly. Please feel free to join us this Friday at 4 p.m. local German time for Reverse the Verse, where we will be taking questions live, myself and a few others based off of this week's episode. And as always, we will see you next time
Around the Verse.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.